Hello. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Emmanuel and Ersk, for inviting me to moderate this panel today. Thank you all for being here for this panel, International Collaboration and Opportunities. I'm going to be joined here by Ariane Labat, the head of Unit for Digital Transformation at DG INPA at the European Commission, and Benjamin Coitz, head of Long-Term Action Section in the Climate Action, Sustainability and Science Department at the European Space Agency. So thank you for joining us here in the panel today. So just a quick introduction. So the session aims to shed light on the strategic and operational aspects of the different ongoing and upcoming international EU-funded initiatives and programs around the globe with a specific focus on Latin America and Africa. And here the panelists will share some concrete opportunities as well for European EU service providers to get involved. Okay, so we'll kick off with some introductions. Ariane and Benjamin, could you please introduce yourselves and provide an overview of your respective organizations and their responsibilities when it comes to international opportunities?
Thank you, Ashmita. Thank you to all of you for this interesting discussion together with Benjamin. Also, I'm Ariane Labat. I'm working at the... Wonderful. Thank you. I work at the European Commission Service for International Partnership. So our daily task is to identify, facilitate, de-risk investments which our partner countries in Asia Pacific, in Sub-Saharan Africa, or Latin America, Caribbean wants to do with EU tech. This is really in a nutshell what we are doing day in, day out. We also, of course, do it together with member states, with each of you from the private sector, and with agency like ESA. So over to Benjamin.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here. My name is Benjamin Coitz. I'm heading the Long-Term Action Section in the Earth Observation Director of ESA. Many of you know me, I hope, because I have been doing this for the last 17 years. That makes us a community, I hope, so that we can somehow work together to make space used in the international development cooperation, but also in the making sure that Earth observation is a strategic asset in many different sectors, and that is what we were trying to do in my group, building partnerships, and that's where the link to the international partnership Director General sitting beside me is becoming very much very important. ESA is an intergovernmental organization, has international relations with space agencies, very much so. We signed, for example, letters of intent with Thailand and with Indonesia in the last few months, but many more already existing. But what we want to do is really to bring the value of the data to the countries, and there the cooperation with DG INPA is very essential because we're already working on 3 different continents. We have activities about 50 million in terms of budget, but I really want to stress the point. It's not about the money here, it's about the type of work, and Global Gateway, I think, is opening doors very much to Europe in this context, and that I'm really grateful and really happy that we find this kind of cooperation working together.
Thank you. And before we get into the activities, I just wanted to mention that there's a Slido with a poll for the audience. You can let us know which regions of the globe you'd like to see more opportunities and support from ESA and DG INPA. And following that, would you both please provide an overview of the ongoing and upcoming projects and activities around the globe, so including in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and more.
Thanks, Ashmita. I think I will explain a little bit what's our methodology with the Global Gateway strategy. So as I said, our ultimate goal and the impact we want to deliver, it's human investment into human-centric digital transformation, where there is a rejoining, if you like, of interest from our partner countries and from us in Europe for security, for competitiveness, for a functioning multilateral system, for global public goods, etc. So we are really driven by this search of a soft spot where interests meet and where we are able to deliver together with European companies in that space. And I think it's really, we're seeing an upward curve, quite exponential actually, in the interest of partner countries from the region I mentioned and with whom we work. There is a unicity of what EU is offering in digital and space, in the reliability of what we offer, in the trustworthiness of the infrastructure, the services, and the whole policy dialogue that goes around that. That is very special, that is sought after by our partners in the Global South to simplify. And we are really seeing, exactly as Benjamin said, when we go either in regional discussion with Latin America, Caribbean, in the EU-LAC digital dialogue, or in specific countries. We had recently my political masters going to Mozambique, to Nigeria, to Senegal, Ethiopia, etc. There is a quality of the exchange because of this recognition of the technological excellence that Europe brings in data, in services, in infrastructure, in the security of this solution, in the control, sovereign control of this solution, paired with a certain level of autonomy, if you like, of our partners to tell us, okay, we would like to partner in this direction or that direction. That's what we see coming, and that is extremely powerful. And we see that particularly in the different programs that we implement, thanks to ESA's role in that, in the Philippines, in the Copernicus Center established in the Philippines, likewise through the Africa-Europe Space Partnership and with the Copernicus Centers that we have in LAC. So I'll come back to that. Thank you.
Benjamin?
So yes, from ESA's side, we have, you know, the programs pretty much from decades of cooperation here. But what I wanted to highlight here in the new Earth Action Program, it's really much about using Earth observation for climate and environmental decision making, actionable information generation for these kind of decisions. For the first time, we have now a dedicated line in there, which is called Global Partnership and Action, basically. So it's something which really is about a realization at ESA's side that we always work with users, but we also say we really need to combine resources and expertise and networks reach globally to work with non-space partners and to make the real impact, to have action on the ground happening. And so the Earth Action part, the second part is very new to us in that sense that we want to programmatically really make an effort and emphasis on that. It does evolve the Global Development Assistance Program, which was the standalone program. But I mean, this is now in our core programs integrated, and we will be helping to make sure that this is all linking together. That is new, I think, in that sense. And we do have also allocated for that substantial funding. There's more or less even for the 2006 work program, 35 million or so allocated for that. And I don't know if I walk you through that right now, or is that something you want to have as a second question in the later part? But I would like to share the opportunities with the community.
Absolutely, we can go into that when we talk a little bit more about the opportunities. But yes, thank you so much for sharing. You've mentioned quite a few different regions, and as we see here from the audience poll, there's a lot of interest in South America, Central Africa, Central America, Caribbean. I don't know if you have any comments on that specifically before we move forward.
I think the diversity matches exactly what we are interested in. So it's very nice to see that no region is without any interest in a way.
Okay, obviously global, Earth observation is global, so it's good that it's more or less balanced. Just a personal observation, I'm a bit surprised that Southeast Asia is on the second last, because there is an extreme dynamic in that region. I would say that there is a lot of potential, because many of the different countries actually are investing on their own in this region, and I think that makes it very particular and impactful to be present as Europe, and to make sure that our capacity and our way of cooperation, and I agree with Ariane that one of our big added value as Europe is that we are reliable partners. It's not only the financing, it's about what we bring in there, and we do co-design and co-development, and we do transfer things. And that is, I think, something which is extremely well received in this context. And I actually, since what happened, since 2 years, we see a huge uptake in interest to be more connected to Europe in the space part. I mean, it was existing before, but there is more of this kind of relying on a partner which is reliable. I think it's a big difference.
Okay, thank you. And so moving on to understand how to support the EU private sector in general. So this question is for you, Ariane. The Global Gateway has been the main instrument under which DG INPA has operated since 2021. What initiatives and instruments under the Global Gateway should the private sector be aware of that support international activities?
No, thanks a lot. Look, the Global Gateway strategy was really a very strong signal for our international partner in two different ways. Number one, it said we're going to put the EU private sector at the core, because it's the EU private sector which is the most flexible, the most agile, and able to deliver a tangible solution for the development challenges that our partner countries wanted to tackle with us. And secondly, it also reconfirmed what we were doing already, but it gave a clear direction that we're going to do everything we do Team Europe, meaning we need to combine our forces. We know in the digital and space markets, the competition is enormous. There are geopolitical interests at stake, so sometimes the market is tilted. And so we would be nothing if we would go disarrayed or with fragmented approaches. We know our competitors, they are extremely integrated. We know Huawei is able to give you a turnkey solution for everything you dream of. Okay, you have many strings attached, but this is what is on the markets we are in. And so from our side, the Global Gateway strategy, digital pillar, and just last year reconfirming the EU international digital strategy, the way we think we can play our role as a trusted and reliable partner for digital and space transformation, it's by bringing forward what we call an integrated and modular EU tech offer. It's very important. It shows that there is excellence and capacity from the European side across all the layers that matter, from secure connectivity, cyber, digital public infrastructures and related services, in the AI service layer and application layer, and in integrated solutions like Destination Earth, where you combine several of these technology plus semiconductors as well. So first, it had this signaling effect to say, we have our role to play. We're not necessarily the heavyweights in each of these segments, but together we have something very different. But we need to come together when we go out to partner countries, because they don't have time to go to every single one of us. So that principle of the Global Gateway strategy is very strong, and that's what we see is working. So in the operational way we implement Global Gateway strategy and EU international digital strategy, this is really visible. So when we go to Philippines, we do, with our colleagues in the delegation, with member states, we do an EU Tech Offer Day, where you have everyone around the table. You have very large European companies, you have small SMEs, you have startups, you have financial institutions, the European Investment Bank, all the member state banks, you have our export credit agency, you have us as political partners, because sometimes some of the intervention are not financial, they are in terms more on outreach at political level to signal a certain capacity to take forward a political dialogue that interests our partner country. And it's really that combination that bears fruit. We have to give you some examples of some investment we are very proud of. So we are deploying a secure connectivity investment that will connect 4 million people previously underconnected in Africa through fiber or mobile solution with EU trusted vendors. This is big. We used not to be there on that market because we were said to be more costly or more disaggregated or etc. We come in with a combination of political instrument, financial instrument. Same in Central Asia, we have a Team Europe partnership that delivers at the same time the satellite-based connectivity with SES together with a suite of intervention on the service layer, on DPI, on cybersecurity, dialogue, etc., etc. And this clicks with other global gateway investment that we do in other sectors of interest of this partner in the region. So that's wrapping up all what I'm saying is our interest is to hear from you what is challenging for you, maybe to work as an integrated group, to come out together or to relate with other players of the EU Team Europe tech offer, because we see that's the only way to make fast progress on these dynamic markets.
Thank you so much. And just on that note, there's actually another Slido question. What type of support do EU service providers need in order to better access these external markets? So please feel free to share your responses. And next, Benjamin, this question's for you. How will ESA continue to support collaboration between the European EO ecosystem and international partners in the coming years? And what concrete opportunities should the private sector be aware of?
Thank you. And then first, I think it's what Ariane was saying, it's an integrated approach to work as Europe outside of Europe. I think it's very important. The global gateways, I think it's very important as a partner for that. Because it's opening doors. I said this before, but I think we have a global solution with Copernicus. But if it has to arrive on the ground, we need to have the ambassadors from the EU delegations, but also the whole ecosystem, what Ariane just explained. I think it's a very strong complement for our space community. Yeah? And just this realization, what I said early on about Earth Action, that is really the partnerships we want to work through partnerships to leverage climate finance and also development finance in this context. And we work with different partners on that, not only with DG INPA, but also with the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. You know them. We also on board in the moment the Green Climate Fund and the Global Environment Fund. We attended last week, one of my colleagues, the GEF Assembly in Uzbekistan. So these things are ongoing, and for that we actually, in this new Earth Action part, we have a very structured approach foreseen. We will have a strategic guidance and advocacy type of activity. There's an advocacy facility we want to put in place, building on the experience we had in GDA, but going beyond there. So that is something which we will be starting, and also push out the tender for 6 million euros very soon in the probably Q3 area. Then technical assistance for Earth observation uptake. We realized that we need to have a timely response to it, and I think many of the SMEs here in the room would be useful to think about how to join forces there, because we would like to open up with this technical assistance kind of a pool of experts which can be on an ad hoc type of level being called from our partners to be supportive to that. This is similar like the FFF from GDA, but it's going beyond the dedicated focus on the IFIs in that point of time. That is a 10 million euros tender by the end of the year. We want to invest more dedicatedly in the sectors energy, poverty, fragility, and disaster, 2 tenders of 2 million euros. And then finally, in terms of capacity building, knowledge transfer, we have done since decades work on that in Africa, which we will continue. But we also will do that more in detail now in LAC and in Asia to complement what we are doing with the Global Gateway, perhaps a bit more from the R&D side. But I mean, you always need to build these kind of things from from science, R&D to operations, and I think that is the type of thing we would like to support in this region. And there will be another opportunities coming out by region for 4 million euros, and I think that will get us all busy by the end of the year to prepare that and to respond to that.
Okay, thank you. It seems like there's a lot of opportunities coming up this year in a lot of different domains. So looking at the question for the audience, the type of support that they need to better access these external markets, we see the top one being matchmaking with users, followed by direct funding as the two main ones. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, great to see the level of response and that we're not that we are, hearing what you said, and that it's really also a feedback loop for us. So on the matchmaking, indeed, it's a powerful system. Under the EU LAC Digital Alliance, there was, for instance, a digital accelerator that was built for that, and through it, we had. Each time we have more interest than what we expect. So for the last round of that digital accelerator in Latin America, Caribbean, we had 70 matches that actually translated. It's not just an exchange of cards, it's really agreeing to work together, business to business between Latin American business and European businesses. Likewise, we have the Africa-Europe Digital Innovation Bridge, which we implement with member state agencies, and we had the joint innovation call. It's a program dedicated to AI innovation in the twin transition space, and again, we are completely oversubscribed. There was very high level of response from companies from those sides. So this is definitely an avenue we are pursuing. And, looping back to, the call to being integrated, we apply to ourselves as well. We look at what we say is the Global Gateway toolbox. And we are very careful to bring all the tools each time we need them. So starting from, events, as I mentioned, EU Tech Offer event, to really scout and be alert for opportunities where we have interest aligned, matchmaking, where we start building business-to-business relation, up to the level of large-scale financial instruments. We have the guarantees, for instance, with the Polish bank BGK that is just starting to operate in Africa, and that can indeed de-risk innovative business model in Africa in cybersecurity or also space services. We have blending with loans, commercial loans for larger scale infrastructure investments, plus dedicated grants. So for the Africa Space Europe Global Gateway Partnership, this is really dedicated to continuing the journey of building together with African counterparts space infrastructure, particularly in the Earth observation area, so that we can grow together. We can also benefit from the global public good of having better data from Africa integrated, as I mentioned, in Destination Earth or any other services that we have ourselves in Europe. And I think that's the template we saw was very effective, where to put some of our scarce grant money. We saw that Copernicus cooperation in Asian region, in Latin America. When we combine supporting mirror site buildings, development of cloud platforms, regional centers, plus with a layer of matchmaking between businesses offering services, that's really a winning formula. It doesn't come cheap, so we have to be extremely selective how we do it, and we need to leverage the maximum engagement of businesses on top of these layers that are funded as grants. And that's why we turn to partners like ESA, who know best your community, who know how to work with you in a very lean and efficient manner. Voilà.
Thank you.
If I may just very shortly to complement and make a direct link to you, there are matchmaking, and actually last year there was, Emmanuel was with ERSC in the, what was called during that time, the MAS, what was it, the market solution, African market solution for space. now there will be another matchmaking for space companies of Europe with space companies in Africa at the African Space Expo in September, I believe. So that is something which will be coming out very soon as a call, so people can also then apply for that, and we will support that. That is part of the African EU Space Partnership Program from the Global Gateway, making sure that these space communities work closer together. And another part of that is happening also in Asia. So there is the Thai Space Expo coming up, and I'm making the link to, I mean, we work there also again through Global Gateway to position European companies to transfer their capabilities. But there is also, I think, this time from Cassini support for companies to go there and matching with companies in that occasion in Thailand. And finally, we have done matchmaking in the Latin America context already once here in Europe and another time in Latin America itself. Another opportunity now is at the ESA Industry Space Days, where there normally comes 3,000 European players. We will bring 10 Latin American companies over here again to matchmake, and I already invite you to take these opportunities if you are at ESTEC. I think it's also in September, to contribute to this and link to the Latin American companies.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So moving to the last part of this panel, which is the focus on Africa. So this question is for both of you. Under the Africa-EU Space Partnership Program, there are currently many ongoing activities. Could you please both provide some insights into the key upcoming opportunities that the EU private sector should be aware of?
I think I've alluded to it already, so let me just branch into one thing I didn't mention yet. So, as I mentioned, so the Global Gateway strategy is really dedicated to work more rapidly, in a more lean fashion with the EU private sector. So that's why we created, if you like, an additional route to work with us, which is called the Global Gateway Investment Hub. So as I said, it's additional. It doesn't substitute working with ESA in some of our program. It's an additional route. Should there be either one company or a consortium of companies willing to signal to us that there is a large-scale investment that they want to work on in a partner country, and which needs either a certain political push, a policy support on the side, on some technical dialogues with authorities, or of course a financial de-risking mechanism or certain type of financing, loans or others. So that's additional route is a guarantee that we will reply to that company within 1 month, whether or not we think we can assemble our forces as public sectors with your investment push. And that goes through your respective member states. We need your respective member state to signal back to us, yes, this project has something a little bit special. There's a threshold of minimum 10 million euro investment because we are not equipped to deal with very small investment, but for larger operations, yes, we can step in. So as I said, it's an additional route. It's not closing all the other doors, either in country or here in Brussels. But it's something we really see there's great appetite for, and that we design in collaboration with the European companies who were in the Global Gateway Business Advisory Group.
Thank you. Benjamin?
We have already talked a bit about Africa, so I will be short because there's also a question of time. Africa, I think, was a big thank you, I would like to say here. We had tenders over the last 1 year. That was about 10 million euros actually in the part of this African EU Space Partnership Program. And what I really thought was a huge success is that basically these consortiums were all constructed by 50%. Like 50% European and 50% African. And I think that is also an opportunity to really work together and learn from each other. That's, I think, I would like to say about Africa. And just to share other opportunities, we do have similar tenders now coming up for South Asia, for stakeholder engagement. That's a 2 million euro tender that's again Global Gateway funded, and Earth Observation Service development in climate adaptation, disaster risk reduction in South Asia. That means India and around. To be very short, and that was 0 seconds.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I see we're almost out of time, but we do have a closing question, just to finish this exchange very quickly. What call to action would you have for European EO companies, but also any international partners that are listening today?
In 30 seconds, please send your projects to the Global Gateway Investment Hub. As Emmanuel mentioned as well, we have also the D4D Hub, Private Sector Advisory Group, which is basically your group. You can use it as an engine room when you can meet other member states or companies, development finance institution, our side, to really facilitate this investment and this deployment we want to achieve together.
10 seconds. I try to be courageous to work together with companies outside of Europe. As I just said, you have done this in Africa, but also do it in other regions. I think it has a lot of value to go for the long way. I mean, I think you start with sharing, but in the long term, you will gain out of it having access for new markets.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry we didn't have time for questions, but I believe you can reach our panelists after. Thank you both for your participation, and please join me in a round of applause for our panelists.